God says, do not go back to the familiar in times of uncertainty. I am calling you to so much greater. When things get hard, you guys, there is such a temptation to revert back to old ways, old habits, old situations, old relationships that seem familiar, that make us feel comfortable. But God says, do not go back to what I already pulled you out of. Let's go to scripture because God gave me this revelation when I was reading and studying in John chapter 21. So in John 21, verses 1 through 11, we read that the disciples returned back to fishing, but that entire night they caught nothing. And we know that Jesus, when he first called the disciples, many of them were fishermen. And that's what they were doing when Jesus first called them to come and follow him. And Jesus said, I will make you fish for people instead and make you fishers of men. And in Matthew chapter 4, verse 20, it says, immediately they left their nets and followed him. So fast forward to John chapter 21, this is about 3 years later. Jesus already died, he already rose again, but Peter and the disciples returned back to fishing, which was their previous occupation. Remember, Jesus already called them out of being fishermen. He said 3 years prior when he first asked them to come and follow him, I'm gonna make you fishers of men. But remember, after Jesus died, they returned back. They went back to their old ways. They went back to what was familiar. They went back to what they knew because they were in a season of waiting. They were probably in a season of feeling discouraged. And Peter went back to his old mindset and probably felt discouraged because remember, he had just denied Jesus 3 times because this is after Jesus died and rose from the dead. So Peter probably felt disqualified and inadequate. And rather than stepping into the new life that Jesus called him to and fulfilling his true mission, Peter reverted back to being merely just a fisherman and brought the other disciples that were with him to fish with him. But here's where it gets good, because this is how good Jesus is. So if you keep reading, Jesus shows up on the scene, but they don't know that it's Jesus yet. They haven't recognized him yet. So Jesus shows up on the scene and asks them, did they catch any fish? And they reply, no. And this is significant to point out because Jesus clearly makes it a point in here to tell us that they caught nothing. Why? Because he's trying to show us that that is not their true calling, that there is no fruit there anymore. Remember, they were professional fishermen. Well, Jesus tells us that they caught nothing to remind us and to show us and to highlight to us that there is no fruit in the old seasons anymore. So what does Jesus tell them to do? He says,